I don't need to introduce the concept of Tomb Raider to you, I'm sure, but I will anyway. It's a best-selling action-adventure game that started its life on the PlayStation, PC, and Sega Saturn. This game was praised at launch for its puzzles, environmental design, cutting-edge graphics, and other reasons. So, as any widely successful game properties go, they expanded on it, releasing sequels and ports spanning over 2 decades and 29 platforms. Tomb Raider can really be enjoyed on practically anything with a screen, including the Pocket PC. You see, there's many ways to enjoy Tomb Raider, but it just so happens this is the way I experienced it. Now, Pocket PC, this might need an introduction. Pocket PC is a PDA operating system made by Microsoft. Launched in 2000, this platform aimed to target Palm in the busy business person on-the-go market. Being made by Microsoft, it had a familiar interface to people who use Windows, aiming to synchronize seamlessly with your Windows PC. Pocket PC was eventually renamed Windows Mobile, a platform that ran on early smartphones. This then became Windows Phone, which then became dead. But even busy business people need their downtime, so there were many apps made for this, and that of course included many games. The Pocket PC I had was one of these things, an iPAQ RX1950. Unfortunately, mine's long ago been lost to time, so if you're interested in it, I'd recommend this fantastic LGR video on the device, link is in the description. This bad boy featured cutting-edge specs, such as a 300MHz Samsung processor, 32MB of RAM, 64MB of storage, and a 240x320 pixel TFT screen. Yeah, this is how I first experienced Tomb Raider. You might have noticed one notable omission from the spec sheet, and that's any kind of network support. Internet on the go was much less of a thing back then, so instead the idea was you plug the device into your PC when you get home, and everything from the day will sync to the device from there. So Tomb Raider was distributed on a CD, you'd put that into your PC and copy the game across from there. Saying this game is forgotten, that might be a bit clickbaity, I'll admit, since you can technically find copies on eBay if you have the stomach for it. But as far as I can tell, no one's really been bored enough to look into it, let alone get any footage of it. That's until me. So I set off on my quest, luckily edited down for you because it was very boring and tedious. This did involve finding an old version of Visual Studio that included a development emulator for the Pocket PC, and then scouring the internet trying to find any installer file I could find for it, and then the process of trying to get it all running on my Windows 10 PC. Yeah, it wasn't fun, but I got there in the end, so I present to you Tomb Raider on the Pocket PC. Yeah, it's not too much to look at, but it is definitely Tomb Raider. As far as I can tell, this is pretty much identical to the N-Gage version, which does make sense, as both versions were ported by IdeaWorks. It's very interesting to see the concessions that were made in order to get this game running on this platform. Pocket PC devices generally came with a little directional pad at the bottom, so the idea was you hold the device landscape and you use this directional pad for movement. The rest of the commands are mapped to on-screen buttons. And this control scheme, well, it works. You can technically play the game like this. The directional pad on the old iPAQ, it wasn't really the best for that, but hey, they did the best they could with the limitations. Now what did shock me is just how faithful to the original this port is. Sure, it's not quite there graphically, but hey, the Tomb Raider game is pretty much intact. Compared to the PS1 version, the level designs are identical, and the controls, well, the controls aren't mapped to the great, but what options did they have? Despite this, you can still do everything you can do on the PS1 version, you're not missing out on any part of the game. This game is obviously missing the FMV cutscenes in order to fit it into that little 64MB of storage. It doesn't have the voice acting, and it's missing the music cues that go into making this game such an atmospheric experience. But still, all in all, it is Tomb Raider. If this is the only way of playing the game, then the levels are all there, the gameplay's all there, this is Tomb Raider. And that's pretty much all there is to say about it. This is Tomb Raider, and if this was your only way of playing it, then you did play it. So, there you have it. I do love these little eccentricities, a full port of a beloved game that's been mostly lost to time. And it's really fun to see the concessions that had to go into getting this game to fit on a little Pocket PC device. Now, there's definitely a lot more Pocket PC things to explore, so if you want to see those, hit subscribe and stay tuned. And a quick shout out to Beard of Ginge for setting this whole thing off by not believing this port existed. Check his Twitch out, link in the description, just to teach him for not believing in me. Alright, that's all for today. Thanks so much, see you around.